Okay, let's just take a moment to drop in, to arrive here. We might close our eyes. Notice the breathing effortlessly moving in and out the body. Just feeling our connection with the ground. Noticing any thoughts or stories that we're arriving with. And just bringing our attention back to the breath, back to the sensations of the body right now. And then as you're ready, we can get ready for some movement. So just following this transition. So feel free to follow whatever is needed for you. If sitting or lying down feels best, follow that. And if you're up for standing, then following that transition to standing, really giving ourselves time to explore. So no need to push the body into any particular position. And then you might shake out your hands and feet, just letting go of any extra energy, anything that's not needed right now. And then you might rub your hands together and start at the low back, checking in with the pelvis, feeling the weight of the body. Just bringing our attention to this central part of the body. Maybe rubbing the hands up and down the spine a few times. Feeling the length of the spine. You might shake out your hands again. And then bringing the hands over the eyes. Checking in with the sensations in the face. Letting go of tension around the eyes, behind the eyes, around the jaw. And then following your own timing, your own rhythm, going from the head down to the feet with touch and awareness and movement, following what's needed for you today, right now. So you might offer the ears a little tug, just feeling how the ears feel right now. Noticing the neck, the shoulders, exploring movement in the arms, in the shoulders, in each finger. And checking in with the breath as we move. And the focus today will be on spaciousness. So we can just take some time to feel the spaciousness in the chest as we move between each rib, between each vertebra. Feeling the belly expand as we breathe in and relax as we breathe out. And then feeling the hips, feeling the thighs, exploring all the way down the legs, checking in with the feet and ankles, noticing each toe. And if you are bending forward here, just noticing the space between each vertebra. And then taking a moment to warm up the hips to bring awareness to the hip joints. So maybe circling the legs, maybe doing figure eights with the pelvis, just following what feels right to you. So no need to stretch or push, just bringing awareness to the whole body. And then as you're ready, finding our way to sitting or lying down, finding a pillow or a chair so that we can welcome in some stillness. And then once you've found your way, rocking the pelvis forward and back, just exploring the connection between the pelvis and the spine, feeling the weight of the head. And finding that sweet spot where your spine can be long, where there's some energy and relaxation, letting the belly be soft, maybe closing the eyes, and bringing our attention to the breath. Noticing as the breath travels through the nose, through the mouth and throat, expanding the chest and belly all the way down to the pelvic floor. And then relaxing on the exhale. So taking some time to find spaciousness on the inhale and letting go of tension on the exhale. And noticing as we inhale how the ribs expand. We find more space between each rib, between each vertebra. And then completely letting go on the exhale. And letting the breath be free. So no need to push or pull. Just following the waves of breath as they come and go. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the shoulders. Softening the belly. Releasing the pelvic floor. And taking some time to really feel our connection with the ground. Letting ourselves be supported by the ground beneath us. Feeling the sensations in the skin, the temperature of the air, the texture of the clothing. Feeling the temperature of the air as it travels through our nose or mouth. Noticing the temperature of the air as it travels out of the body. Allowing the breath to be slow and long. Letting go of any idea of rushing. Noticing if there are any tiny adjustments we might make to allow more freedom of movement in the breath. And seeing if we can really let ourselves enjoy this short time of having nothing to do, nowhere to go, giving ourselves this gift of time to rest, to pause. Notice how we feel. And letting the breath fill up the whole back body, finding space in the shoulders, in the ribs and spine, in the low back, and letting go of any extra tension. And just following the next 3 breaths, seeing if we can enjoy the sensuality of breathing. Dropping into the effortless nature of breath, just letting our whole bodies be breathed. And slowly, as you're ready, begin to follow any little movements that are wanting to happen right now. Just giving ourselves this time to really listen to the body, notice what's being asked for, and completely giving in, just following the sensations right now. Maybe tending to the spine, offering tiny circles with the spine, or curling in towards ourselves. Finding softness in the belly, finding length in the spine. Maybe finding tiny circles with the head and neck. And then if it interests you, you might bring your hands to your chest, just exploring for a moment the space between the ribs, noticing what happens as you breathe in, as you breathe out, exploring this area with your hands all around the sternum, feeling the connection between the ribs and the sternum. And just noticing each rib here. Sometimes we think of this area as a cage, like it's one moving part, but each rib can move a little bit on its own. So just checking in with this area, seeing if we can find some spaciousness, some freedom of movement in the ribs, in the sternum, in the upper back. Noticing the vertebra of the upper back, where the ribs connect. So you might even bring one hand to the upper back or maybe to the neck. Noticing the space that is created as we're filled with breath. Maybe offering touch to the sides of the ribs, noticing the space between each rib on the side. You might explore pushing the ribs just a little bit from side to side. So then continuing the exploration all around the ribs. So finding this bottom part of the ribs, following this line around the belly, noticing as the diaphragm fills and empties. So you might kind of trace this whole area of the ribs, of the belly. And then if you like, you might close your eyes and continue this tracing exploration around the spine and vertebra. So really noticing as you breathe in the space that's created in the spine. So the same idea here with each vertebra, that sometimes we think of the spine as just this one structure, but there also are all these individual structures. Each vertebra can find space in the connection between the other vertebra. So you might explore one hand on the low back, on the sacrum, one hand on the base of the skull, just feeling how the breath moves the spine. And then continuing to trace all around the ribs. If there are any ribs that you haven't made contact with yet, just taking some time to feel the movement of breath throughout the spine, throughout the ribs. Feeling the space that's created from the throat all the way down to the pelvic floor. Noticing as the diaphragm fills with air and squashes all of our organs, offering a little tiny stretch, finding a tiny bit of space in the pelvic floor. So we might close our eyes and imagine this whole central part of the body expanding like a balloon as we breathe in, and then completely letting go as we breathe out, letting the balloon grow smaller. Letting go of extra tension in the throat, in the neck. Maybe offering touch to the throat, to the neck. Filling the balloon and emptying. And if it interests you, you may explore a different position with your body. So if you're lying down on your back, you might try rolling to the side, or maybe you try coming up to sitting. And if you're sitting, maybe you explore lying down, taking some time to really feel supported by the ground. So noticing where your body is in contact with the ground, with the floor beneath you, and just feeling as you expand with breath, how the body relates to the solidity of the ground. So noticing all the mobility and flexibility in the body, especially throughout the spine, between each rib, between each vertebra, and then really feeling the support of the ground, the hardness of the ground holding us up. So again, in this new position, you might outline the ribs, maybe offering a little bit of movement, gently pushing the ribs from side to side, just noticing the width of this area, the width of your shoulders, of your chest, maybe offering touch to the sternum, to the belly, and just feeling how we fill with breath, how we empty. Noticing the rhythmic, effortless nature of breath, feeling the movement of the body and the stillness of the ground. You might reach your hands above your head, finding space in the spine, space between the ribs. Noticing the length of your arms, the length of the spine. And then one last time, if it interests you, exploring a new position, maybe lying on your side or lying on your belly or finding your way to standing. So you might allow the legs to be long. You might explore a full body exploration of space, just feeling the length of the legs, the length of the arms and the spine, the width of the body, maybe exploring the arms out wide. Really finding freedom in the breath here, exploring this full spaciousness of breath. Noticing how the breath changes, as the body moves into different positions. Where breath can fill us up more. In any places that might feel tight or constricted, offering the movement of breath to these areas. Noticing any ways that your body really wants to move and seeing if you can allow that. So maybe the ribs are interested in twisting. Exploring a little bit of constriction between the ribs and noticing if that creates space. In other ribs, maybe in the other side of the body. Maybe squeezing the ribs in towards each other, towards the front, and noticing the space that's created in the back body. Maybe offering some touch to the ribs around the sternum and pushing these ribs back towards each other and creating space in the front body. And then taking a moment to pause wherever you are, closing the eyes, noticing the breath, noticing any changes in the body and the mind, changes in the breath. And then slowly, as you're ready, you might come back together, sitting, or maybe you stay lying down, following what feels right for you. And just taking some time to come together and reflect, sharing anything that's changed, anything that you noticed, anything that felt surprising or interesting.